Skip it up and that up. So I've wanted to talk about this for a while. I have been a medical cannabis user now for, I would say, over 6 months. And it has had many, many, many positive effects on me. Like, insane. We'll get into that in a minute. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because marijuana on a recreational level is now legal in the state of New York. And I'm going to, there's, I mean, it's not like you could have like 500 pounds in your kitchen and you're good to go, but that's it. It's legal on a recreational level. And I think this is huge. This comes from the NewYorkTimes.com. It's super short. I'm going to read it to you, and then I'll give you my story on what medical marijuana has done for me. New Yorkers are now allowed to possess up to 3 ounces of cannabis for recreational use, or 24 grams of concentrated cannabis, such as oils derived from a cannabis plant. People who are 21 and older are allowed to use, smoke, ingest, or consume cannabis products. They can also give them to others who meet the same age requirement. At home, people will be permitted to store up to 5 pounds of cannabis, but they will have to take reasonable steps to make sure it is stored in a secure place, meaning you don't just have it out on your kitchen table and your 4-year-old could start, smoking weed. There are penalties ranging from a simple violation to a felony for possessing more than the permitted amount of cannabis and for selling the drug without a license. And in the description below, I'll have a link to the New York Times article I got that from. It goes into more detail, but that's not the point of this video. I just wanted to give the basics of recreational marijuana being legalized in New York. But it's interesting, man, because before medical marijuana was a thing in my life, I was not scared crapless of it. I think that would be extreme, but I've had some bad experiences with it. I before I started using medical marijuana, the last time I smoked a joint was 2002, and it was only a handful of times I smoked, and one time I had a really bad experience and I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm okay. But that's the thing. It wasn't regulated. Who knows where it was bought from? Who knows what exactly was in it? I may have smoked a whole lot more than marijuana in that bowl. It was actually a bowl, not a joint, than I wanted to. And so I'm like, yeah, no, I don't know where this crap comes from. I'm good. But I've had shoulder pain on and off for a while, and I also suffered from severe generalized anxiety disorder. And everyone in the beginning was like, hey, Rich, try CBD. And CBD did absolutely nothing for me. If anything, it had like a stimulant effect on me. I'm like, yeah, this stuff. I'm not saying it's snake oil. I know some people whose lives have been completely changed by CBD, but it didn't do anything for me. Everyone's different. Everyone's physical makeup is different. You may try CBD and it may be the most relaxing thing for you on the planet. Me, didn't work. So everyone told me, Rich, get a medical marijuana card. Medical marijuana is legal in New York. Try that. See, it may help you big time. So, okay. So I'm like, how the hell do I get it? So I started asking on like Facebook, I'm like, how the hell do I even get a medical marijuana card? I called around to find out the legit way to do it, and someone gave me the information. I'm not shouting out any organizations. I'm not shouting out any websites. I don't want to make this like, I'm not sponsored by anybody in this video. Chances are this video will probably be demonetized too. But there's ways to do it that, if you do your due diligence. I know there's still states out there that it's still just legal on a medical level. So do a little bit of legwork and you could find out. So I went this route. I got approved by a physician, and the next thing you know, I have a medical marijuana card, and I found a dispensary by me, and I started trying different lozenges and sprays and tinctures and all this different stuff. And let me tell you something, man. It was a complete change in my life. Before this, for some reason, a few years ago, I started having sleeping issues, and it wasn't me waking up or so, Rich, you may have sleep apnea. Like, I just couldn't get to sleep. Like, my mind would be racing and I would be thinking there, and I had a bunch of interesting stuff happen in my life, and not going into that, but I just could not fall asleep. It's not that I couldn't. It's not that I fell asleep and couldn't stay asleep and woke up, waking myself up snoring. I know people that do that. It's just that my mind would race. And once I started taking medical marijuana, pretty much that problem was eliminated completely. I suffer from severe generalized anxiety disorder, and some of my worst moments is when I worked at that job that I had right before I did YouTube full time. I would have multiple. It was a night shift job, and at the job I would have multiple panic attacks there. I would wake up mid panic attack with my heart racing like 200 friggin' beats per minute. It felt like, and literally shaking and sweating and like my muscles twitching. And even as of recently, not that severe, but there would be times where I couldn't get out of bed in the morning because my anxiety was so bad. And it would make doing basic things like even filming in front of this camera next to impossible. And with my use of medical marijuana, I mean, I'm still an anxious guy. I always have been that way. Anxiety will always be an issue with me, but worlds better. I don't wake up not wanting to get out of bed. I don't have a panic attack. And obviously I never use medical cannabis when I'm driving, but like even when I'm not using it, like I'm totally sober right now, and 98% of the day I am. It just makes, even when you're not on medical marijuana, it just does something to you where you feel better. It's hard to explain. And just simple things I can do right now. Like before, part of the reason I didn't game as much as that much was, yes, of course, I have kids. I have 3 kids and have a lot of other stuff going on with YouTube and family and other things. But when I had the time, my anxiety wouldn't let me pick up a controller. It was very strange. And then when I started taking medical cannabis or medical marijuana, I could do that again. Like I actually enjoyed video games again. Like I could focus on the game, enjoy it without all these other thoughts going into my head that just would make me so anxious that I couldn't function. My quality of life all around, from sleep to being able to just run errands and do basic things. Again, I never take it while I'm driving, but it just still helps with my anxiety even when I don't take medical cannabis, to being able to enjoy things like games, to being able to live. It's part of the reason I've been able to live stream more. I know I didn't live stream last night, but generally most of the time I live stream every single evening. Also, you should sub to this channel by hitting the red button and also hitting the bell for all the notifications. And generally, virtually every night, sometimes I skip here and there, I start streaming between 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I stream for anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, depending. But point being is that the medical marijuana has helped with that. And I'll be honest with you, I take a little bit more of it when I stream because it makes me say some insane things like talking about it. Would you actually go to a wedding if you had to wear a man's ass as your hat? Like literally have a man sitting on your head and his butt cheeks were your hat. That was the attire you were required for the wedding. I thought of that when I was on cannabis. It's pretty horrifying but hilarious thought. But anyway, point being is that marijuana has helped me all around in my personal life, in my work life. I'm able to focus more. I'm able to enjoy things more. I'm able to be a human being. And it's amazing how this plant, literally, that's been demonized for my entire life, has been nothing but helpful for me. It's not like I drank very little before I was taking medical marijuana, and now I drink never. Like I don't even, once in a while I would have a glass of wine. I don't even want that, because the thing is, you take cannabis, you fall asleep, you wake up, I don't feel groggy, I don't feel hungover like you would without. Even if I had like a glass of wine, it would still it would make me sleepy, but then I'd wake up and feel like crap. I don't feel like that with the medical marijuana. It's just amazing how when I was in high school, marijuana was looked at just as bad as like crack. I'm not even kidding. Like, at least it's how it was perceived. You had the stupid dare to keep the kids off drugs and all that nonsense. And it was looked at just as bad as you name a drug. I'm trying very poorly trying to keep this video being able to keep it monetized. But yeah, it was looked at as so harmful, and the brainwashing that's been done to society, which is finally we're breaking away from that. But at the time, it was demonized and was seemed as scary, and you were seen to, oh, if you use marijuana, you were low class, and if you use marijuana, you're a degenerate. And now it's like, oh, while you're going to pick up your marijuana, could you pick up some milk and some aspirin? It's a much different time, and this is the way it should be. I can't believe I even had some of that fear put in me, and especially after I tried the Bob the drug dealer stuff when I was in my early 20s, you know, and I had that bad experience. I kind of fell into, oh man, marijuana is kind of scary. But now it's changed my life, and I couldn't picture not having medical marijuana now. And now the fact that it's going to be legal recreationally is huge to me. Now, look, everyone is different too. I don't want to sit here. I'm not a marijuana salesperson or spokesperson. This video isn't sponsored, and it may be different for you. I know some people who've tried regulated medical cannabis several times, and they just said, look, every time I try it, it just makes me more anxious. Everyone's different. You also have to realize there's different strains. There's indica and sativa. So one indica makes you, at least to me, more relaxed, and sativa actually is kind of a little bit of a stimulant. So you got to see what works for you, and if it works for you. It may not, but it's almost made my life a complete 180. And there's no downsides really to trying marijuana. You can't get physically addicted to it. Unlike alcohol, you can get physically addicted to alcohol. And marijuana kills nobody. So can't hurt to try it. And if you were having issues like I have, I mean, I still have anxiety, but if you're having issues that I explained, give it a shot. It's changed my life completely, and it could change yours too. This is Rich at Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one. Hey, if you enjoy my content, consider becoming a Review Tech USA member. I'll have a link below in the description. I live stream now on this channel all the time, and it gives you access to cool emoticons to use as well while I live stream. Again, link below in the description. Thank you for your continued support.